Today on Behind the Apps, we're cutting through the noise with Mark Sabbagh. Mark is a serial entrepreneur, investor, and the powerhouse behind multiple fast scaling ventures in distribution services and early stage investing. As founder and CEO of Diamond Trading Group, Mark built a global product trading firm known for its speed, agility, and strong supplier relationships. He's also the force behind Diamond Appliance Group and Diamond Services Group, two national platforms transforming how appliances are distributed, installed, and serviced, all with a customer-first approach. Through Gotham Venture Partners, he backs real businesses, solving real problems, bringing both capital and operational know-how to the table. Whether he's flipping high-demand inventory, building national networks, or investing in AI-powered deal engines, Mark's superpower lies in spotting market inefficiencies and executing fast. We're going behind the apps with a founder who scales through grit, vision, and a deep belief in the power of relationships. Good afternoon, Mark. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining me today. It's so nice to have you.
Thank
Um,
you.
why don't we start out a little bit with, who you are and what your companies do and kind of how you got here?
Sure. My name's Mark Sabbagh, from Brooklyn, New York. I am the lucky co-founder and CEO of Diamond Trading Group, the co-founder of Diamond Appliance Group, and the founder of Gotham Venture Partners, which is our investment arm. A little bit about our three companies. I started this little journey of entrepreneurship, give or take, about 5 years ago. Um, I started with Diamond Trading Group, which is a trading and distribution company that buys and sells name brand consumer products, primarily opportunity buys and overstock opportunities that we sell across different markets and distribution channels. Um, and which is our primary business. And then I am also the proud co-founder of Diamond Appliance Group, which is a national appliance business that distributes major home appliances to developers, property managers, designers, facilities managers, and your everyday homeowner. So everything from refrigeration to ovens and ranges to hoods to laundry, pretty much all major home appliances. And my company, Gotham Venture Partners, is my investment arm, the investment arm, I guess, of the Diamond Group, as we like to call it, which invests in opportunistic opportunities. So, private credit deals, private equity, and venture capital. I currently sit on the board of two startups right now. Been part of other startups as well. And those startups are primarily something that is kind of like our innovation lab, I guess we can say,
Sure.
towards the future of what we do. And it's very exciting to see what's being developed, and we try to be a part of that and really look out for the future of our businesses.
Well, that sounds like you're bored. Like you've got nothing going on, huh?
Oh no, definitely not bored.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And even if I didn't have all this going on, I got four kids at home.
Oh,
So
there you go. Yeah. So, yeah, you don't know anything about free time and you won't for
no,
quite a while, my friend.
not at all. It's okay. I'm loving it every single day. I'm very lucky.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. So let's talk a little bit about shocking operations. So let's talk a little bit
Sure.
about in any and all of your businesses when you started realizing that either operations was working great or was working not so great and you had to make some changes. And what did that kind of look like?
When you first when I first really started my business, we were part of it was very interesting. So when I first started Diamond Trading Group, we were basically an I actually, before I started Diamond Trading Group, I was really the VP of sales of Diamond Home,
Okay.
which is who my business partner today and best friend Albert is the owner of. I was VP of sales of that company. for about 5 years. Actually, really recently stepped down and really became more of an advisor over the last year. But that was a larger company selling major retail. So the journey kind of starts from there. Let's say 6 years back. So let's just say July of 2019, I started working in Diamond Home, which was which is a houseware manufacturer, and worked through that company for about five years in VP as a VP of sales. As an advisor to the company, and really helped grow it through the retail channel. So we really grew that business substantially. But in between that, obviously, we had COVID-19 that actually hit a year into that,
Yeah.
and through that it kind of got us back into, because being a business, my my with working for a good friend of mine, our goal wasn't really to be employee boss. It was really more of we're going to do something together. And as his business was growing, we started my business, so it was very interesting. So I was part of like a larger infrastructure where we had an office in Manhattan, and we started hiring employees because that business was growing, and I was kind of just running this business on my own. And then I finally hired who is now also my partner, Zuki Terzi, who is running the primary buying and sales of that primary business. And so, just starting with Diamond Trading Group, we run our operations very lean. Okay.
Okay.
Now, everything that I've learned across, from major entrepreneurs and from studying is really people, 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 right? And it's very hard to find the right people. So the first thing with operations is really getting the right people. Do you need a
Sure.
million people? No. Sometimes it's just really those few core people.
Yep.
And I've had Zuki, and then we've also hired some people overseas who actually help us outsource. And that's the crazy thing about today. It's like the industry's really changed. I mean, I even see it in people who've had over 100 people in their company. They slim down to 20 people in house, and everything else is either outsourced or overseas.
Sure.
And it's a really big transition. But really, I believe in true efficiency. So I have one really main person that helps me run the trading business, and the trading business doesn't really. The operation side is finding product every single day, new product, new vendors, new customers. That's our business because we're always looking for opportunities.
Sure.
So the job so our KPIs, I guess you could say, is finding those people, finding those opportunities, but also nurturing the relationships, but also being the best conduit possible between between the manufacturer and the end consumer, right? And that is a challenging spot to be in because you're frowned upon by the manufacturer, frowned upon by the marketplaces because you are essentially the middleman. So
Yep.
our moat, I guess we would say, is really being running lean, having a very strict process in place, having we're very stringent on communication. Issues that come up, we're on top of them immediately. We also don't, because we're sourcing opportunities, we're gonna find an opportunity that we know that's it's a clean deal,
Yep.
the numbers line up, you can sell it, you could be profitable with it, and also, that it makes sense for you to ship and everything. So we go through that entire gamut of things. So we go through. That's really essentially our moat, and that's our focus, and that's really what's really grown us. I push now for our appliance business. We have a bit of a larger team.
Mm-hmm.
I have my also another one of my best friends and dear friends, Sean Dweck, who's the CEO of the company, um, who runs the day-to-day operations. And then we have our team. We have our marketing team, a few members in marketing, so one head of marketing, a few people overseas, and then we have a couple of different salespeople. And the beautiful thing, is that when you're starting a business, the as the founder of the business, you have this, I guess you have this vision in mind that's in your head is reality, and this is what you're going after. The most important thing and the hardest thing, and this is something that I'm still working on, but I'm slowly starting to build out within my people, and the main people around me, is the vision that I'm trying to pursue, right? And also sometimes your vision needs to be as my hero Steve Schwarzman says. He's the founder of Blackstone. This is somebody who catapulted me in the part of my career, is that you have to have a worthy fantasy, and sometimes your fantasy is a little bit out of touch with reality, and the people around you are the ones that keep that in touch with your reality.
Sure.
So my big thing is, look, we're not in an industry. We sell closeouts and we sell appliances. We don't do anything that's majorly different. We're not. We're not selling. We're not the hottest AI company where we're selling robots and
Right.
we're selling a software that changes the way your workflow or like we are invested in that, and I'll get to that in a bit. But we are still an everyday type of company. But what is our edge? What is our difference? And our edge and our difference is that we're so fluid on communication, right?
Okay.
And I try to stress this across to our team that the faster you communicate with the vendors, the faster you communicate with the customers, the faster you communicate with the logistics people, is the faster you'll be able to get more turn and more productivity and more volume out of your work. And we push that, and then and look, you learn things, right? Not everybody can be the same as you. You wish everybody could be the same as you,
Sure.
but as long as you can have your team believe in you, and look, I come from a hardworking background. I'm working since I'm 18 years old, so I've always been work, 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 work. I mean, this is kind of like where I'm at in my stage in my life and career. So, the newer people and a lot of the guys who work for us are younger and the younger generation. So
Sure.
I try to stress that and I push that and ingrain that in their heads because in reality, we are in a very competitive environment, okay, especially within the industries that we're in. So we
Right.
want to be able to get ahead. And the goal is that, it's crazy because I was such a bad student. Terrible. I sneaked out of high school. I like to make this joke. I never got a high school diploma. I graduated high school, but my high school actually closed before I could even get the diploma. So I make the joke. I said I never got a high school diploma because the printer broke and they never fixed the printer.
There you go.
But when I started my business and I kind of had this vision of not just building one business, not just building two businesses, but building an ecosystem of businesses. I said I got to learn. I got to
Right.
study. I can't just like in my head. I'm like, Mark, do you really want this? You want this to be your worthy fantasy? You got to really study it. So I learn every day. I write every day. I listen to podcasts. I do read a lot of books. I would say I've slacked a bit on that. I've read pretty much a lot of the major entrepreneurial books and business books. Um, and I try to follow kind of the formula of everything that I learned from these books and implement them into what it is. But to operate a business, to get to the point of operating is that it's people are hard to find. Good people are hard to find, but
For
also
sure.
good people that are hard to find that are also going to believe into what you're doing.
Right.
That is really number one. And you really have to you got to really care for your people.
Mhm.
You got to push them hard, but to a level, right?
Right.
Respect, empathy.
Yep.
And you really got to create systems in place and really have real clear communication. And also, and something that I would say is very important that I like to work on is that business is up, business is down. You really got to stay level.
Right. So let's go
And that's
back to
important.
one of the things you said around communications. And you said communicate
Um,
early, often, fast, right? Some are my words, some are yours, but that's generally what you were saying. So tell me how you're implementing that. Tell me how you're monitoring that or making sure that your vendors and your customers are seeing that communication and in the expectation or standard that you're trying to set.
we set the precedent for an upfront. You know, when a lot of people listen. We're in a very digital world. It's very interesting because when I first started my career, I did only face to face sales.
Sure.
Everything was face. I used to sell insurance. I was
Okay.
going to people's houses, their offices. uh, I was everything was face to face, and that's what I knew. Today's world is really not like that, especially in my industries. Everything is really over the computer, very digital,
Yep.
and we try to have as much face-to-face interaction with the team. We get together once a week, so I don't like to have. Listen, meetings are great, but if you get too dragged on, kills time, kills
1,000,000%.
productivity. So we try to cut that out. So we have one big meeting a week where we discuss really pretty much the whole ins and outs of the business. And I really meet with my key guys on a day to day, right?
Okay.
Like Zuki, me and Zuki meet once a day, and actually sometimes multiple times a day. And me and my partner usually get together around the end of the day for in our appliance business. Um, but it's you really got to, first and foremost, when it comes to your vendors and your customers, right? You got to set that front up front. So you don't get to have those face-to-face interactions, but you really got to set that precedent on the initial phone call, or like, for example, when we're doing a deal with somebody, right? And it's
Yep.
gonna be over WhatsApp. The way you give them the information on the deal and the way you pass over that information, the way you do it, and the way you communicate it, and the way you're answering, and the information you're passing on to them will gain more trust in them. Because again, we're in a business that I'm buying this and I'm selling this from here and selling this here. It's not rocket science, right? You just got to really know how to kind of put it together.
Right.
Some people don't really care. The businesses people that say, "Oh, I think I found something over here. Send me the money and let me figure it out." That's not how we work. We try to communicate everything through, and that really kind of gains our trust. Because when somebody gets hurt, and I'm telling you, people in our industry get hurt all the time. They deal with
Okay.
bad distributor, they deal with bad distributor, they
Oh,
deal with a bad customer. They don't get paid. They get shipped the wrong product, and this wasn't communicated to them. Right? Everything gets documented.
right.
Everything is kind of right there. So we try to set that up from up front with the customers. With the appliances, that business, yeah, you have to communicate to a T, and you have to really be really on it, because look, you're serving a consumer and you're serving builders and developers who have projects. You're at the mercy of the customer,
Right.
realistically, right?
Right.
So with the team, if there's an issue, you're on it right away. Okay, whatever's the problem is secondary. Okay, whatever else is secondary, you focus on the customer first. I think that's how Amazon got so big. Really, it
Probably.
it,
Yeah.
it it is the truth.
Yep.
I read Amazon Unbound, and I think I know why they are how so big. It's very simple. You got to have extreme focus on the customer.
Right.
Unless you have to have extreme focus on the customer, where it kind of becomes a cult like following. That's what we try to kind of do,
Okay.
right? We try to kind of do. I mean, we're not Amazon, so we can't really do that. But that's something that we try to say, like, that's how we get referrals, that's how we keep our good Google reviews, that's how we keep, that's how we
Sure.
get those referrals from people, because we do these things, we step outside the box, we do these things, we take those calls at night for the person who has a refrigerator that's an $800 refrigerator. We don't It's an $800 refrigerator.
Right.
How much time are we going to spend on this? But let me tell you something, when you spend that time to help them,
Yep.
you have no idea the opportunity that comes behind that.
It's relationships, right? It's all about
Yeah,
relationships.
100%,
Sure.
100%.
I was just going to ask. I mean, I think it's a great segue into what does make you stand out, right? Because, like you said, it's not a unique business. It's obviously done well. You've done well to build it through the relationships that you have. But what are some of the things that you have built in procedurally that make you stand out differently, that reinforce those relationships within the team and your operations?
It's constantly putting the customer in the team's face,
Okay.
and stressing that if you don't take care of them, you're not going to see business. And if you want to grow, you better do everything possible to make it right.
Mhm.
Um, and and I just try to press that all the time. I mean, again, this is on the top of my agenda every single week. You have to, again, if the customer could be, and I'm telling you, we deal with them in all shapes and sizes. But i- if I tell you, just example, we have to have a lasting effect on them,
Right.
and I stress that to them all the time. And we saw a very firm example last week. Very interesting. We had somebody in my office. One of our sales guys was working on a customer, selling him a refrigerator, and he said, "I'll come in tomorrow and we'll get this wrapped up. I'll stop by your store." I said, "Okay, great." This was the sales guy. The guy comes into the office. He comes into to the showroom. He goes, "Listen, I'm very, very sorry. I actually just ended up getting." He came because I actually ended up getting a refrigerator for the meantime for my basement from my brother-in-law, whatever. Okay, no problem, no problem. He goes to my sales guy. He goes, "I really, I never got service like this before in my life. Can I give you your commission? Like here's like he handed him money." My sales guy's like, "No, no, no, I'm not gonna do that. We'll work together again soon." But that's the kind of effects we need to have on people.
Sure.
Is that the guy literally got in his car? He's like, I feel bad. I didn't give him the business. The guy worked his ass off.
Right.
Guy got in the car. Now that's also a rare human being. We don't see that as much,
Agreed.
right?
Agreed.
But that's the kind of effect we like to have on people.
Fantastic.
where they really push to do the business with us
Right.
because they know we care. It's genuine. We're
Yep.
not just trying to go into their pocket. And that's what I believe will grow us as a company. And look, I'm going to tell you, Kristen, we're young. We're a very young company.
Sure.
We're still in the growth. We're still in the scaling phase. I'm still trying to figure out how to grow. I'm still trying to figure out how to build. We're 5 years in, and people say, maybe you could stop working 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day. I said, I'm still in the beginning days.
Right.
And I try to stress that to everybody. I said, look, I don't care if you have the best day of your life. I don't care if you cover your bills all in one day. You're back down to zero. I also tell my team also, this guy, it's a crazy month. We're killing it this month. I said, okay, well, next month could look a lot more
Different.
bleak.
Right. Right. So, what are some of the things that you're running into? So, again, well, I have two questions. All right, let's start with one is you've obviously built a great business around relationships and people, right? You're absolutely putting your customers in the forefront. They're not always right, but they're in the forefront, and your team supports that, and your culture believes that. So, tell me about a time that made you realize how important that was, i.e., something that didn't go right, a client situation that you were like, okay, really got to pay attention or put a process in or a metric in that reinforces the culture I want.
Good question. Um, I can't really pinpoint. I can't really pinpoint the turning points because I think really just going in life, just growing up, I think that I just really had to care for people because I sell life insurance. So I'm going to tell you again, I sell life insurance,
Right.
which is the hardest thing to sell. I don't, I, it, Nobody
For sure.
wants some random guy in a suit and tie to show up to your house to sell you on the fact that you're going to die and that you need to give them money and on a month of money that you're never going to see.
Right.
Right. So I used to have to tap into the emotions of people, and I used to have serious conversations with people. And that kind of be having those conversations about your family, who you love, your assets, your life, what's important to you, you know, your job, the hardships, what happened to you, that type of thing. It helped me move. It segued kind of into my career.
Okay.
It also it also it also implemented a form of hard work because really in that industry is eat what you kill,
Right.
and that always stuck with me. It's again, like I said earlier, like I was saying before, today could be the greatest day ever, tomorrow could be hell.
Right.
So it was really that, having those personal relationships with people. And I kid you not, Kristen, I used to cold call somebody. Okay, sure, you want to come by, fine, 15 minutes, okay, come for a 15-minute appointment. It would
Right.
last 2 hours, 3 hours sometimes, right? And I get business out of them. But I would show, I don't I, would- let me tell you, I used to show up to people's houses on a cold call, sometimes not in the best neighborhoods, and talk and sit with these people and start talking to them about their life 5 minutes after meeting them.
Right.
So you used to have very sensitive conversations with people. And you started to realize that, you know what, business isn't just about making money.
Right.
It's not. It's not about. It's really. It's You could be making money, but everybody hates you. You're not going to be happy. But you could be
Well,
making money and everybody loved you,
it's a good.
and it's a better business.
Yeah.
And you could be getting killed. You could be having a tough time in business, but your customers love you and you already have that set up. So it's going to come back eventually. If you do right, you do good, you get good. And that's kind of what my belief. So it really stems back from really the beginning of my career.
That's awesome. That's very cool. Thank you for sharing that. So let's look at scaling, right? You said you arguably been scaling because you are growing, as you had said, from year one to year 5 or 6 now. But tell me some things that you're either looking at from a scaling perspective, and maybe some struggles you're having with trying to manifest that.
So I will tell you. So it's a little bit the appliance business. I'll start with the trading business. The trading business is, and then I'll get into our investment side. With our trading business, it's tough to scale because we're in a business that doesn't hold any inventory. We're looking for opportunities all over the place. You got to be able to be a good deal maker and be able to put together deals. You
Sure.
got to be able to find good opportunities, vet the opportunity, vet the person, vet the customer, put that all together. It's hard work.
Right.
Okay. It's been very hard to get that and get somebody who's able to put that together. Most of the companies in my industry are run much more leaner. The guys who are running larger are struggling because of
Okay.
the fact that it's very hard to put together these types of deals. So that's been the hard part there. Through now, what we have invested in about a year ago, we invested into a company, and I actually sit on the advisory board for is a company by the name of Bazaar. They are an AI trading platform for the trading and distribution industry, and the goal is to, I guess, in a nutshell, be the Bloomberg terminal for the industry,
Okay.
and that's really where we feel is next in really getting towards the future and really towards scale, because that would give us access to the broad industry.
Right.
It also builds us up as, really, we're at the forefront of the innovation of the industry. And granted, they're also having their own challenges building a product, especially from scratch, especially in technology and especially in AI, which is so competitive today, is also tough. So I also see it from a
Absolutely.
startup perspective. So I see it from my perspective, and I see it from an outside perspective. We invested in Logi about 3 years ago. It's a it's a AI software for social commerce and finding influencers. They just raised a Series A and just raised some money from the state of New Jersey. They just got an investment from the state of New Jersey, and they're growing. But again, it's finally really hitting that product market fit, and when it comes to
Right.
those types of products. But
Right.
again, that's another lever to our innovation side to really building our business, right?
Sure.
Um, and so we implement some of that, but to really scale, it's hard. You need people. You need people, but you also need people who can execute the way you can execute.
Correct.
In our appliance business, I'm going to tell you something. That industry is an old school industry. The appliance business is a pen and paper industry.
Okay.
It's also right now probably it's most of the industry is run by baby boomers, and a lot of them are retiring right now.
Sure.
um you know we've looked at potentially acquiring some of them, and it's not really you look at how some of these businesses are run. I mean, some of them are just it's amazing how these people actually stayed in business, right?
Right.
But they've never scaled because
Right.
they've always kind of stuck to their way. Now there is a couple of hyperscalers within the industry which we're trying to catch up to, but we're still in the early innings. You got to invest in Google advertising, which is incredibly expensive. You got to invest in website development, which is extremely expensive. You need to have a good team, and you have to have a team of people that have patience,
Yeah.
like really patient. I tell my team all the time, like, this is sales in the appliance business. Like, I love the customer, but I can't really run the business and really deal with the person whose dishwasher just went out.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? And there's a level of patience and there's a
Yes.
level of equanimity that you need to have when dealing with the customer. So that's tough to scale, but you have to, there's also, you got to take a lot of risk is it's when you want to scale, you got to take risk. And trust me, we've tried to build websites, we've tried to hire people, and this is across all our business. We tried to hire people, we tried investing things. You'll hire 1 out of 10 will be good,
Yes.
you know. Maybe 1 out of 20. I mean,
Right.
we're interviewing people all the time, we're trying to speak with talent all the time. It's That's the tough part. You really need the people who you're going to invest in, and you need that person needs to really convert on that investment. And finding the right people is very, very hard,
Yeah.
especially ones that are aligned with your vision. And I think in today's world, I think that a lot of companies are, especially smaller businesses, are having the same challenge.
Sure.
So I think from a scaling perspective, it's really finding those people who are aligned with your vision, that are finding the right people who are aligned with your vision. I mean, I think that's really what it is, and that's really where we see the challenges of scaling. It's there, and it's also, you got to take risks. I mean, you got to take monetary risks,
Yep.
some bigger than others, and it's how much you could swallow. So
Sure.
yeah.
Have you had any? So I think pretty much everyone I talk to, both here on the podcast and in my day to day world, are finding the same thing, right? You have to find people that are going to fit within your your culture and within what you need and that drive that you need versus a drive that some other company needs. So what aha moments have you had when either in the process of hiring someone or you get someone on board and you're like, aha, we've got the right ones? Are there any lessons learned in there for the other entrepreneurs listening to us?
I think usually with the ones who've worked, and we're a team of maybe 10 people altogether. I think pretty much right away if it's somebody that's gonna stick.
Sure.
You have your doubts along the road, but you also have to be patient. I mean,
Mhm.
people can't get it right away. You also have to be patient. Um, but I will say with the people I have, I'm very blessed.
That's
And you have
fantastic.
to count your blessings with the people that are good.
Correct.
You
For
do.
sure. You do.
Um, but it is time. I was actually just listening to a podcast this morning. Uh, the podcast, his name is David Sendra. He really goes and he reads on every major entrepreneur that's alive today and in the past and history. And he was talking to Brad Jacobs, who was I read his book. Actually, I have it right here. He's the founder of RXO, QXO, United Rentals. He's started like 7
Gotcha.
companies.
Yep.
And he said that he spends maybe a majority of his time on people issues and really just managing people.
Hmm.
And I was listening also, going back to Steve Schwarzman and his amazing president and CEO John Gray, Blackstone. They did an interview yesterday with each other. I was watching it, and they were talking about just how the firm grew over 40 years, and all they kept talking about is the people, the people, the people, the people, the people,
Mm. Yeah.
and the processes that they built over time for these people, and how to assess these people. So it takes time to get to that. I mean, we're still young, we're still scrappy, so
Right.
we're again, we have a structured system, but again, it's very hard to track how everything's working, but you got to be patient, you got to really be after it. Eh, Look, if anybody who's starting a business, they need to know right now. I mean, look, it's easy to start a business today. It's
Hmm.
easy to start a business.
Yep.
You need a phone, and
And
that's
the
pretty
internet.
much it,
Yeah.
right? You really just need a phone.
Yeah.
And and realistically, depending on the type of business it is, you don't need a lot of money.
Sure.
But if you really want to build and you really want to make an impact, now there's everybody has their own wishes and everybody has their own dreams and mission. So depending on how big it is, you know, the world is still a very competitive place. If you want to have an edge, you got to work your ass off because
Yep.
most likely there's somebody else out there, and Mark Cuban says this, that's probably going to kick your ass. Who's working 24 hours to kick your ass. So, and I also believe the harder you work, the luckier you get. And the harder you work at finding people, just like you work hard to find customers and vendors and partners, the luckier you will get to find the right people.
Of course. For sure. Well, Mark, it's been a blast. Is there any parting thoughts you think that the entrepreneurial world really needs to hear, or something that you've heard that you just think is what makes you get up every day?
I'm just gonna say it like this. I'm still in the middle of my journey. I've accomplished maybe 0.5% of what I'm looking to accomplish. So I'm still on my journey. I would follow me on LinkedIn as I go through my journey. My goal and mission is to build, an ecosystem of businesses across a trade, investments, a distribution, and really across consumer products and technology across the ecosystem and really build that out. And I'm in the middle of doing that slowly. And it's people say you're trying to do a million things. I'm not trying to do a million things. Everything kind of works together,
Right.
right?
Right.
And people say, Mark, what you're doing is crazy. How'd you do it? It's just you got to really be efficient with your time. Have a routine. Keep healthy. Keep your mind healthy. Keep your body healthy. I used to be. Hold on. Did I lose you?
Nope, you're still here.
Oh, okay. Want to make sure. I used to. I was out of shape at one point when I first started my career. I was running out of energy fast. You need energy.
Yeah.
You need to be healthy. You need, and look, I have, I have 4 kids. I don't get as much time with them. So the sacrifices that you
Right.
have to make, and you better love that sacrifice. So good days, bad days, I love what I do.
Yep.
I skip to work every single day. I'm blessed. I'm very lucky, but I'm still on my journey, and I would follow me on LinkedIn as I go through it.
That's fantastic, Mark. Well, thank you so much, and I hope you skip on your way home.
Thank you so much. It's pouring
Thanks.
rain outside. I don't think I'm going to skip
No,
over
no
it.
skipping. You'll fall. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kristen.